Hello, we're in South Wales today for the start of Stage 5 here in Aberdare Park in the stone circle in the middle of it, which is pretty appropriate. Plenty of riders got sacrificed off the back yesterday as the front group turned it up to 11. The start of Stage 4 brought the Tour of Britain back to North Wales and the pretty town of Denbigh. It's a part of the country that attracts cyclists keen on testing themselves, and for the pros this would really be the case. 218 kilometres awaited on the longest stage of this year's Tour. The peloton rolled intact towards Mold, and the first Yodel sprint went to Anpost Chain Reaction's Jasper Bovenhaus, coming to the fore once again to take the maximum points and help give him back the Yodel Sprint's jersey at the end of the day. The climb of Reed Talog signalled the resuming of hostilities between Sky's Nicholas Roach and Wanty Group Gobert's Xandro Maurice in their ding-dong for the Skoda King of the Mountains jersey. Roach won the battle here, but Maurice would again win the war on the day, finishing ahead of his rival on the day's other climbs. Soon after, the break went, and the four men were Tonelli of Bardiani, Benito Diaz from Caja Rural Seguros, Madison Genesis rider Matt Holmes, and NFTO's own Welshman Rob Partridge racing on home roads. The four-man break worked very well together and stubbornly stayed away on what was a warm and humid day. Further back down the road, even the iceberg yellow jersey wearer Julien Vermont was loading up with bottles for his teammates, while Taylor Phinney honoured his Wild West roots by whipping the peloton forward. Eventually, after more than 3 hours of attacking Mid-Wales's relentless terrain, the break started to get pulled back. Once Tonelli was eventually caught, a wave of counter-attacks commenced. Johnny McAvoy from NFTO had a go, Kiwi Jack Bauer did as well, and Nicholas Roach would get frustrated at the lack of involvement. Sebastian Langeveld hung out there for a while, and so did the leggy young Dutchman Joachim Hoekstra, all to no avail. At the final Yodel sprint in Newbridge-on-Wye, the front group was back together. As the final few kilometres counted down, a sprint for the line in the Royal Welsh Showground was inevitable, with some ominously talented riders sitting near the front, apparently untroubled by the relentless parkour they'd experienced up to that point.
And it's Dan McClay at the moment that's hit the front. It is Dan McClay of the Great Britain team that's going to take it on the line. McClay, or was it Groenewegen? Groenewegen gave the salute, but McClay was right there as well.
So looking at the general classification after Stage 4, and once again Julien Vermont hangs on to the yellow jersey presented by Iceberg. The Belgian from Essex Quick-Step staying in the top spot by virtue of finishing in the top 5 on the day. Steve Cummings is still 6 seconds back. Then Ben Swift gets onto the podium by virtue of getting some bonus seconds at the end there. Tony Gallopin on the same time as well. And then looking further down the top 10, some ominous names as the race gets towards the sharp end.
Now let's hear from the riders helping to make this year's race such an enjoyable spectacle.
You're on the podium as it stands. Do you think you can stay there?
It's a tough ask, I think, with the calibre of riders that I've got just behind me. You know, I've not got a big advantage. Tomorrow's a real big test. It's something that'll challenge me to my limits, and then obviously the time trial. I'm not renowned for my time trialing, so yeah, we'll see. I wanted to give this race a good crack and see how it goes, and just try my best, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
I'm starting to get pretty tired now. You know, the race has actually been really tough so far. I'm not usually really used to these sort of heavy, hard roads and
Grippy.
Yeah, really grippy. Even sitting on the wheels, it's super tough. So yeah, I think it's made it for a really hard race so far.
Dylan van Baarle sneaked into the top 10, and you won this race 2 years ago. So is that what you're thinking now?
Yeah, I definitely be here to win again at GC, but yeah. They won't let me ride like 2 years ago, of course, but I'm now also stronger, and I think I have a good spot in the GC, and yeah, hopefully I can move up some places.
Excellent to see the Partridge in full flight in the breakaway yesterday. How hard was it to get in the mix there?
Yeah, it was pretty hard, 40k really, but used my local knowledge and knew what was coming up, and it's just nice being there again. I never get to go back that often either, so it was good fun.
With me once again here at the start of Stage 5 is Janto Barker, Rodney to my Del Boy. And Janto, as someone who's represented Wales at more than one Commonwealth Games, you'll know pretty well just how grippy, how sapping these roads in Wales can be for the riders.
The group, I think, made it look a lot easier because there were still so many guys there, but everybody's fighting for the, every pedal stroke, every push forward is very difficult, and there are a lot of guys able to keep with the pace. Even the sprinters, when some of the climbers best in the world are really giving it big licks on the front. Yeah,
we saw Dan McClay in the reckoning right at the end, but you were quite taken in particular with Dylan Groeneweghen's leg speed to give him the win on yesterday's stage.
I felt like that was the difference between Dan McClay's strength, who is, phenomenal sprinter, but Dylan has a combination of strength and speed, and he kept that going all the way to the line, and I think it was the difference in the half bike length between the two of them.
Stunning landscape the riders will head through today. It's several areas of outstanding natural beauty. You've got the Cotswolds, we've got the Wye Valley. It's going to be absolutely stunning, Janto, but no less difficult for it.
I don't think so. I think there have been so many difficult stages already in this tour, and today's going to be no different. These guys are going to have to push and fight for every position, and I'm sure we'll have a very deserving winner at the finish.
Janto, thanks for now. Let's hear from the riders, but first, let's have a closer look at today's route.
Heading out from Aberdare, Stage 5 takes place in stunning British countryside. After 44 kilometres, the first Yodel sprint is in Usk. The riders leave Wales by crossing the Wye Valley and quickly take on the Cat 2 double of Stow Green and Speech House in the Forest of Dean. Into the Cotswolds, there's a sprint in Stroud and a climb of Selsley Common. After chipping Sodbury, there's a final sprint in Pucklechurch ahead of the finish in Bath. Stage 5 will start from Aberdare in Rhondda Cynon Taf, a new venue for the Tour of Britain, before crossing South Wales as the peloton heads for the finish in Bath. The county borough has a proud industrial past, built upon the once thriving coal industry. Aberdare Park, which opened on July the 27th, 1869, is the perfect example of a Victorian-age public park. The Golden City of Bath has been welcoming visitors for over 2,000 years. Designated by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, Bath is home to some of the most impressive architectural sites in the world, such as the Royal Crescent, the Circus and Pulteney Bridge. At the heart of the city next to the Abbey is the Roman Baths, which give a fascinating insight into the original bathing complex. Bath has a wide variety of museums and galleries, and it hosts a number of festivals, and vibrant street entertainment bring life and excitement to this beautiful city.
We want to be in the breakaway with Sebastian, Jack or Ruben to go for a stage win. And I think if I go in a breakaway it doesn't make sense, but yeah, we try to win the stage, and yeah, hopefully we succeed.
I think with this and any co-tour will be perfect preparation for the World, so yeah, hopefully I can go there and have a go.
I think it's so different to what you see in Europe, especially when you get on nice, smooth Italian roads. It is really hard, and it adds another dynamic to the race, which a lot of people aren't ready for.
Looking forward to the time trial, how do you feel about that? I mean, in terms of the confidence with the other riders around you within a time gap?
Yeah, it won't be easy. First we have today another stage, and also tomorrow we have an uphill finish, so let's wait for that and then we see how DC is. But Kumo is really strong, and also in the uphill and also in the TT, so I said in the beginning we look day by day, and of course I will try to make the best of it.
Hi, I'm Caleb Ewan from Orica Bike Exchange, now with your commentary with Hugh Porter and Brian Smith.
Thank you very much indeed, Caleb, and good luck to you in today's stage. Well, we're looking down at the field assembled in this Victorian park in Aberdare, and this is another tough stage ahead of them, 194 kilometres, a second longest leg that'll take them all the way through to Bath.
Well, it was a nice sunny day yet again for the riders of the Tour of Britain. 119 riders took off from the start line, only one non-starter, and that was Cinco Dam of Giant Alpecin.
And it's still Julian Vermont of Ethics Quick Step that's wearing the yellow jersey with that 6-second scant advantage over Steve Cummings. So whether or not we're going to see anybody threaten that advantage today will be interesting to see. King of the Mountains competition could be interesting as well, as Sandro Maurice is still in charge of that tussle ahead of Roach.
So another tough day ahead for all these riders. Again, we're getting into the GC battle between Cummings and Vermont. Are we going to see some action in that competition today, or is it going to be stalemate again?
Just look at that. How much thought has gone into that, and just how many people are involved. They really do get involved. Anyway, we're heading towards kilometre 0. Vermont just having a chat with the commissaire chief at the front. Looks all smiles at the moment. And he gives a thumbs up then to the driver. And he's getting ready for the flag to be dropped.
So a nice welcome by Wales at the start in Aberdare, as they see many of the fans at the side of the road flocking to see their heroes in this year's Tour of Britain.
And it's really been astonishing the amount of people that have turned out to the roadside. Thousands and thousands of them. They are loving it. And there are some superstars here, of course, to cheer on. So we've gone through kilometre 0 now, and the race is on. And already we've got riders from Madison Genesis at the front, looking very eager to try and get clear.
Well, the race actually started before kilometre 0, and Matt Holmes from Madison Genesis keen to get it started.
And the man on the attack on the extreme left of our screen there is Jasper Bovenhaus, the leader in the Yodel sprint competition. He's trying to get away to try and steal some points in the first sprint.
Yet another fast start for the stage. Bert-Jan Lindemann up there for Lotto NL Jumbo, and attacks all the time in the first part of this race.
Yep, so Lotto NL Jumbo are on the front of the race at the moment, and there is a slight split. At the back there is Connor Dunn, and we've got 5 riders trying to go away. It's been like this nearly every day. Once we go through kilometre 0, they are eager to get on with it.
And it's constant reaction from the front of the peloton. Another rider from Ann Posh trying to come across, but it's all action here at the front of the race.
And we're now looking at the leading group that is trying to get away. 5 riders, or 4 at the moment, but we got another rider trying to come across, and this looks like Rousel of Madison Genesis, and Marino is there, Bauer is there, and Emil Moynard.
Yeah, 4 riders off the front here. You get Rousel, McAvoy, Bauer and Moynard. So 4 riders trying to go away, with Lotto NL Jumbo trying to come across.
So these 4 riders settling down now, as the back of the peloton indicates just how fast it is. Look at this on these fast roads and sunny conditions, but got still quite a long way to go before we get to the first sprints and mountains.
So on to the race, and these 4 riders were joined by this man here from Movistar, Javier Marino, to make it 5 in the elite group.
So the 32-year-old, the man who's won a stage in the Tour of Spain in 2014, joined them, and now the group 5 strong, as we are heading on now towards the first sprint of the competition, and this coming on Monmouth Road, and 44 kilometres under the wheels when they cross the line.
So it's Johnny McAvoy just leading the group. But really no contest at this moment in time, because all the riders were thinking about is gaining time.
It's going to be uncontested, because none of these riders are serious threats to the overall leaders in the sprint competition, but still useful points, and 3 seconds 2 and 1 for the first 3 over the line. There's the result for you. McAvoy gets the 3 points, Rousel gets the 2, and Marino picks up the 1. Well, welcome back, and the 5 riders are still well clear as they cross the line, ready to climb the first of the King of the Mountains. This is the ascent of Stowe Green.
And they have a healthy advantage of over 5 minutes. You can just see Eric Rousel for Madison Genesis on the right-hand side, the best placed of the overall contenders in this breakaway at 4 minutes and 39 seconds. So the virtual leader on the road.
It's going to be interesting to see as well at the head of the peloton what Sandro Maurice does, because he is the current leader in the King of the Mountains, and he will be anxious to try and collect the 1 point that is still available. But it's Ian Stannard, the big strong man on Team Sky, that is pulling the peloton along.
And they're thinking of a possible another stage win by the rider Danny Van Poppel, but Just behind Ian Stannard is the whole team of Team Dimension Data looking after Steve Cummings.
But it's a healthy advantage that the 5 have carved out, and as the distance begins to run out, then of course it's going to become a bit of a nail-biter here, because the peloton will have to commit.
So it's a steady pace at the front by Jonathan McAvoy, and they're trying to just limit any loss of time on this climb and save a little bit of energy for later on in the stage, because they're going to need it.
3.5 kilometres long, and this is pretty tough country all around here in the lanes. Ideal countryside to race in as we look at the head of the peloton. Team Sky right on the front, and then it's Dimension Data and inevitably Ethics Quickstep, but just keeping an eye on who is ahead as we catch a glimpse of the yellow jersey as well there for Mott.
So the peloton is just strung out in this small descent, and it will soon bunch up together as we hit the King of the Mountains.
Yep, they've started the ascent as well. Yogi Bear, Ian Stannard right there in the front of our screen. Also riders from Lotto Soudal in the red. And of course, remember, they've got big Andre Greipel, their sprinter, should it all come back together before the finish.
So the field are leaving it up to Sky, Dimension Data and Ethics Quickstep to set the pace in the front. Just controlling these 5 riders, because 2 riders we've already mentioned, Eric Rouse at 4:39, but also Jack Bauer at 4:43.
Jack Bauer, number 81 in the green, 4:43. So the composition of the group confirmed for you once again on the screen, but they're consistently working here. They gave the field a slip very, very early on in the race, and they've settled down to the task in hand and kept a very high speed. There is the summit of the climb, so it looks as though they're going to ride through, and that means that Johnny McAvoy on the head of the 5 here will pick up the maximum 6 points.
So it's McAvoy at least a way through it in front of Eric Rousseau, with the Movistar rider Javier Moreno taking up the 5th place.
Meanwhile, further back, it's still Ian Stannard on the front.
But just look to his left-hand side, you can see the black jersey of the Skoda King of the Mountains leader coming up towards the front. No sign of Nicholas Roach at this moment.
So there he is, Maurice in that black Skoda King of the Mountain jersey, riding on the Wanty Group team. And he has ridden very, very well throughout the competition. Nobody's going to bother or push him here. It looks very much as though he's just going to put his bike over the line comfortably to pick up the 1 point, and that's going to be useful.
So it was up and down all day for the breakaway, and of course the peloton. It was a tough day in the saddle as they yet hit another climb.
And as we say every day, there are so many unclassified climbs that test the riders, so they have to deal with this as well. And the styles indicate just how hard it is, with the 3 riders at the front dancing on the pedals and the 2 sat at the back there. That's Jack Bauer and Eric Rouse all finding the power to turn the rhythm on in the saddle. And now, of course, settling down as well is Johnny McAvoy.
So at the front, the 34-year-old French rider Amaury Mornard of BMC setting the tempo. And predominantly at the start of today's stage, the wind was helping them. But once we head in towards Gloucester and turn right heading south, the wind will be across them and into their face.
Yeah, the pace was absolutely frenetic at the start. It has been every day. Riders trying to get clear. That's been the aim. As soon as kilometre 0 has been passed, then riders are trying to distance themselves and form a little break. So here we go. This is the man I was just mentioning, Sandro Maurice, just pedalling away from the rest to pick up the point, and that will increase his lead even further over Nicholas Roach, the Irish champion in this King of the Mountains contest.
So no contest from Nicholas Roach as Maurice goes over the top, adding more points, as Hugh says, and taking a commanding lead in this competition now.
Yeah, he's delivering a very polished performance, is Maurice, and it's going to take a mighty task to get that jersey off him. Tomorrow could be a test. We finish at the summit of Haytor, and he'll need to be vigilant there. Lovely, glorious shot there of the scenery as we confirm the result of the climb. McAvoy getting the 6 points, but it's that point at the bottom that's important from Maurice. Back with the group, just pedalling smoothly towards the top of the second King of the Mountains, and this is Speech House.
I would think, like the previous climb, they will not contest this competition. Johnny McAvoy, who took the first King of the Mountains at Stone Green, is moving up in the left-hand side, thinking about adding to the points he's already got earlier on today.
And that's exactly the way they're going to arrive at the line. Just look at that. McAvoy again pedals over for the 6 points. Rousel second for the 5. Bauer gets the 4. Moynard the 3. And Javier Moreno gets the 2. They've covered 86 kilometres so far. Here's the result of King of the Mountains 2 at the top of Speech House. Johnny McAvoy getting the 6, but it's all about that man in 6th position, Sandro Maurice. Another 1 point. That means he's now 4 points clear of his nearest challenger, and that's Nicholas Roach. Even on the perimeter of the city here, Brian, there's still masses, crowds everywhere. The imagination has certainly been fired up by watching it on the oh, look at this. Well, this is, oh my goodness me, Madison Genesis rider on the floor, and Wout Poels is delayed there. I don't know, oh, and his teammate, whether or not they've gone into the back of that car. Looks like it. And we can get back to the peloton further down the road, as those riders try to make their way back into the group in the convoy.
We were just talking a little earlier about the wind conditions, and when we started from Aberdare today, it was an easterly wind, and it was actually aiding the riders all the way to Gloucester. But when we turned out of Gloucester, we kind of headed south and heading towards Bath and Bristol. The wind is now changed into a cross headwind, and you know, with the crosswind sections, so it will be a bit of a slog for the riders in the breakaway. Only 5 riders with still 73 kilometres to go, but if it does expose itself, then possibly we could see some crosswind sections for the peloton.
Another day out of the classroom. Here we are, here's the sign, tells us we are into the kilometre to go for the next sprint. More interested in keeping the pressure on here, Brian. Although
Yeah.
Bauer, of course, could pick up, if he took all 3, could pick up 9 seconds today in the GC. It would be useful.
Yeah, in the first sprint of the day, Jack Bauer was not interested in taking any seconds. He wants to. He's in this breakaway thinking more of the stage win. He doesn't want to get involved with these sprints and you know, waste any energy. You know, he's already got his you know, his head set on trying to take the stage win rather than be involved with any seconds. He just gives a nod to Johnny McAvoy. They don't want to waste any time. So get on my wheel. We need to keep on riding on as hard as possible, because we've got 4 minutes and 20 seconds, and he's already missed out on a huge stage win in the Tour de France way back in 2014. So he knows what it's like to be disappointed. So he wants to give this a good go as much as possible.
Getting nearer then to the line, waiting to see whether McAvoy is going to make a move past him. Certainly putting in a mighty effort again here now. He swings over. Here come the rest. It looks very much to me as though it's going to be Rousel that's going to take it on the line. Yep, Rousel crosses the line first from McAvoy, and then in 3rd spot it was Moynard. That hasn't done any damage at all in the standings.
Just a little wave there from Eric Rousseau to Johnny McAvoy. You know, thanks for that. They're combining well together, and it's another good breakaway. We saw this with you know, Ian Stannard. We see the confirmed result: Rousseau, McAvoy, and Moynard. It's you have to. You know, at this stage of the race, you have to, you know, communicate with everybody else. Jack Bauer came up and said, look, guys, just don't mess around. We'll get it sorted and continue on.
Let's have a look at Strava's profile of the final climb of the day, Selsley Hill.
It's a second category climb, 1.9 kilometres in length, a very steep 8% average, and the elevation gain is 151 metres. Obviously Moynard for BMC and Moreno of Movistar are very experienced riders, and if they can combine well together, there's a good possibility, you know, they could try and hold off the peloton, because Dimension Data have got help from one rider, Bert-Jan Lindemann from Lotto NL Jumbo, and one rider, James Shaw from Lotto Soudal, but it's only 2 other riders helping out, and like we saw the other day, it's very difficult to chase with having only 6 riders in your team.
There we are, you saw the sign on the left. That tells us we are now on the final climb of the day, and that is Selsley Hill, 2 kilometres long, and this comes 131 kilometres in the stage. So they've got 63 kilometres to go, or 60 as it's just shown there on the caption, about 37 miles after they get to the top of this climb. I'm just wondering if Bauer's going to try and do an Ian Stannard. It's worth speculating on, Brian.
Yeah, we've kind of speculated a little bit that is the case. It's got similar similarities to the stage around you know, Derbyshire. That, you know, a couple of riders have come up to help Dimension Data, but no real numbers. You know, Lotto NL Jumbo and Lotto Soudal have already got their stage win. Team Dimension Data haven't, so you know, they've sent a token rider up towards the front, although 2 strong riders. But the gap is going up to almost 5 minutes now. So it's now that you have to really consider if you want to try and win the stage.
Go Steve-O, look at that for support. Cummings has certainly got his fan club.
Yeah, he's a very popular man now. He was popular before, but I think over the last 2 years, with his efforts in the Tour of France, he's elevated his stature here in the UK.
Yeah, he's always been a quality rider, very likeable rider as well. There is the line ahead, and it looks very much like McAvoy's going to take this, just as he did on the first and second climbs of the day. Uncontested, just riding through, and it's McAvoy that picks up the 6 points. So that's 18 points today he's picked up. It's a little bit like Christian House on the day when we went over the Cat and Fiddle. He picked up the top place in each of the climbs then. I always say that when you are riding a bike through a sea of faces like that, it is so motivational. It raises the hair on the back of your head. It makes you want to try harder. But there he is down there, the King of the Mountains. You can see him in the white and black. And he's just teeing himself up here for this 1 point that's still available. I can't really see, apart from Nicholas Roach, who else would want to challenge him. Maybe Peter Williams. I can't see either of those riders. So it looks very much like the Wanty Group rider could have a free run to the line here for the 1 point. Looking down, you can just see him. He's third back, just on the elbow of the Lotto NL Jumbo rider. He's got the line in his sights, a little kick on the pedals, just rhythmically spinning the gear away from the rest. Cursory look black. Anybody going to challenge me? No, thanks. I'll pick up the other point, which he does. So that's 3 nice points for leading the peloton over, and that has helped him, well, put a further stranglehold on the competition.
All the Skoda King of the Mountains have been played out today. Johnny McAvoy taking up 18 points. As we see the confirmed result, McAvoy, Mornards, Moreno, Bauer, Rauso and Maurice. So Maurice now takes a bit of a stranglehold in this competition.
So we've got inside 60 kilometres of racing to go. The race is finally poised here with these 5 riders at the moment holding a healthy lead of 5 minutes and 23 seconds. Maurice has had a great day in the King of the Mountains competition. He's increased his lead, and now we just wait for the outplay of what I think is going to be pretty intriguing.
Oh, a crash in the middle of the peloton now. So one of the BMC riders, it so easily happens. We'll see a replay of that, but just a lack of concentration. Touch of wheels, bang. One of the BMC riders goes down. It causes a reaction further back in the peloton as one of the Wiggins riders hits the deck as well. So unfortunately for this man here, it's been a hard hit. Rick Zabel has hit the deck, and he'll get up and going, and just a minor lack of concentration there. But as I said, both Lotto NL Jumbo and Lotto Soudal just at the front of the peloton. It was in fact one of the riders from Cannondale that his foot came out his clips, caused a reaction.
Looks as though Lotto NL Jumbo are deciding to start to lift the pace a little bit here now. There's no more feathering of the pedals, I think, by the face we just looked at from the rider on Lotto NL Jumbo, that the chase is beginning to start. Well, you're looking there at the William Tyndall Monument. Very, very impressive indeed. And of course it is the obelisk on the hilltop. And the man, of course, who it's in respect to the man who translated the Bible into English. William Tyndall's translation of the Bible coined many familiar phrases, including the spirit is willing, but the body is weak. You're looking at the leaders here as they're entering into Chipping Sodbury, another lovely part of the world, and it's coming down slowly, isn't it? So once that gets down to 20 k's, if they've got 2 minutes, then I think it's in the balance.
And just looking at that wind, they're turning right, it's not really helping this breakaway. But when we come out of Chipping Sodbury, we rise up a little bit, and then it's kind of up and down, more down than up. All the way to 6 kilometres to go, we've got a sharp incline up into to Bath. So Jack Bauer again trying to release his foot in the town, his wrappers, and he'll be thinking of a potential stage win here in Bath. The gap now under 3 minutes inside the last 30 kilometres, with Lotto NL Jumbo and Lotto Soudal chasing at the front of the peloton.
Yeah, there's 20 kilometres to go after they've crossed the line for that final sprint in Bucklechurch. So the race now is nudging ever nearer the Yodel sprint on the course. 3, 2 and 1 points. There we are. Perfect timing as we cross the entrance, the 1,000 metres then up to the line. And there's 3 seconds, 2 seconds and 1 second, which are useful as well. Just to advise, in the first 2 sprints we've had, Rousel's had a second and a first, so it means he's picked up 5 useful seconds.
Well, they need to keep on riding hard, because in the last 5 kilometres they've lost about 30 seconds.
20 kilometres to go. You saw the sign as they crossed the line there, and it was McAvoy that was over the line first. It was uncontested. They just rode through to keep the tempo up.
Yeah, second place was Movistar's Moreno, and third place was BMC's Moinard.
Still haven't decided if they're going to send more reinforcements up.
Just in the last 3 kilometres, the breakaway have lost a further 20 seconds. So they really need to try and dig deep now and stop the gap coming down if they want to try and stay away.
I think doubt is going to start to creep into their minds now. You've got to dismiss that. Failure is not an option. They'll be being told that in their ears. They've got to really apply the pressure. They need to be inside 10 kilometres to go, and that lead needs to be around about 1:30, I would say.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because, you know, at the end of the day, about 25 kilometres out, they were sitting just under 2 minutes. With 23 kilometres to go, they had 2:37. 20 kilometres, they'd lost 29 seconds, and it was a 2:08. Down to 17 kilometres to go, 1:48. 15 kilometres to go, 1:39. So, you know, they lost about another 20 minutes from 20 to 15. Gripo's come to the front in the last 2 kilometres. The peloton have gained on the breakaway by 28 seconds, courtesy of Greipel coming to the back. So it's to and fro at the moment with the injection of pace from the peloton. It means that equally the breakaway has to push harder at the front, but it's still in the balance. It's, you know, in the last kilometre, now it's 12 kilometres to go, they've only lost a matter of 5 seconds.
So it's Rousel at the front now, out of the saddle, just trying to drag the rest along. Bauer still sitting there, locked steady in that wonderful style of his there. And McAvoy in third spot.
Well, this is this last climb coming up here, and Eric Rousseau putting in a big turn. He wants to stem the loss of the time back to the peloton. It's at 51 seconds, getting close to 6 kilometres to go. Still the red jerseys of Lotto Soudal.
Oh, we've got an attack on here. We've been waiting all day for a bit. Now we've got an attack by the rider from BMC. This is Emile Moinard, the 34-year-old Frenchman.
So it's job done by Johnny McAvoy today, and Moinard from BMC goes. Jack Bauer tries to go with him, so the casualty of the day in the breakaway so far is Johnny McAvoy of MFTO. Doesn't have the legs to go with the initial attacks.
So it's only McAvoy that's lost contact, and the sign on the right tells you it's 5 kilometres to go.
Eric Rousseau pushing hard for Madison Genesis. Moinard, who initially put in the attack, it was Eric Rousseau that brought him back, so Javier Moreno is there for Movistar. Jack Bauer at the back. I just thought there it was a good opportunity for Jack Bauer to go over the top, but I think Jack is starting to feel the pain of the day as well.
Yeah, I think you're right. He hasn't jumped clear as I thought he would. Kelston Park and I right there, and this is a fast sweeping descent, and in the distance they can now see Bath. So Moinard looking back as much as to say, come on, who's going to give me a hand here? And the hand is being given to him by Javier Moreno, the Spaniard on Movistar team, the 32-year-old, had a stage win in the Vuelta a couple of seasons ago. Last throw of the dice then, and it's Sky that are now trying to spoil the party, and the big man, Yogi Bear, Ian Stannard, has come to the nose of the peloton. There he is, look at the style, crouching down, and he really is beginning to inject pace here as he levers over the big gear. Oh, Moinard's gone again, this Frenchman full of riding, 3 kilometres to go, and it's Moinard, the Frenchman, that's gone again.
He looks so strong, Moinard. He was the first to attack on that drag with about 6 kilometres to go. He was brought back by Eric Rousseau. Eric Rousseau has been trying hard to try and keep this breakaway away, but unfortunately BMC have sent their man into this breakaway. He's within sight of the finish, but still possibilities with 31 seconds in arrears. The peloton could come back because it is slightly uphill.
Yeah, just over half a minute the advantage. Well, just inside half a minute now. 2.5 kilometres to go, and Moinard absolutely going to the well. He's asking for more and more as he really does begin to bury himself.
It still could possibly be a sprint finish from behind, as we see Johnny McAvoy, who's had a good day today for NFTO, moving up in both competitions, about to be caught. But I just think that with 20 seconds, with 2 kilometres to go, he might have enough as Jack Bauer and Eric Rousseau come across the gap.
Yeah, and providing if they do all join up again to start working and not playing around, that's what they've got to do. Bauer looks back as he comes up into the wheel of Moinard. Now then, Moinard's got to still keep the pressure on. 1.7 kilometres to go. 21 seconds the advantage. We have the 4 linking up again, and it's still Team Sky at the front. This is Wout Poels now beginning to fan the flames. Also up there is Ben Swift and Viviani. Oh, it's a nail biter this, isn't it? Look, Moinard's looking back again. There it is then. That's the Alpecin gantry that, of course, holds the Flamme Rouge, the pennant. They're inside the concluding kilometre, and it's still Moinard on the front and Bauer's in second place, and they're starting to look back as it's Lotto NL Jumbo coming to the front again, no doubt looking after the Dutch champion who won yesterday.
With the peloton, they're 1 kilometre to go as well, so it can only be a matter of about 10 or 15 seconds. They'll know, they're looking around, who's going to be the first one. You put in all the motorbikes out the gap. This, again, is going to be touch and go as we start to see a reaction from Jack Bauer.
Yeah, so it's Bauer now that begins to ignite the burners at the front. An early strike here. Bauer then trying to lead this one out to try and clinch the stage victory. Moinard still in his wheel. And then in third place is Marino, the Movistar Spaniard. And look look at Rousel at the back. Rousel's trying to spring a surprise. What a win that would be. Rousel trying to come up now, but it's Bauer in second place. And still at the front then, we have the Spanish riders. They're now beginning to light their move for the finish. And the peloton is right behind them. Groenewegen is right there, the Dutch champion. Look at the face on Marino. Marino's trying to clinch the stage victory. And Moynard as well as they're coming up to the line. How tight is this going to be the final 100 metres? Rousel's there as well. And Caleb Ewan is on the right. Who gets it? It's Jack Bauer that takes the stage from Moynard. What a finish that was.
Oh, what a finish. Caleb Ewan was coming up there. I think he just stole about fourth place. Eric Rousel possibly just hanging on to third place, but it was going to be touch and go. Very tight in the finishing line, but what an exciting finish.
The face of pain written all over the Spaniard Moreno as he tried valiantly to try and seal it, but it was Jack Bauer, the New Zealander, in the middle of our screen that clinches stage 5 here in Bath. So the official result of stage 5, Jack Bauer beating Emil Moynard into second place, Eric Rousel third, and Caleb Ewan winning the bunch sprint for fourth, all in the same time. 31-year-old New Zealander Jack Bauer riding for Cannondale clinched stage 5 then to Bath in a nail-biting finish from Emil Moynard from BMC, and he was over the moon with the result. A very, very popular victory. 24-year-old British rider Dan McClay becomes the latest holder of the Chain Reaction Cycles points jersey. Pipped on the line yesterday, but top rewards today.
Yeah, I think yesterday it was like sprint on dead legs, and I think you just had to come out of that corner first and hold on. But yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good. Like today I felt like got a fair bit in the legs, just got a bit rushed into those last couple of corners, and then guys going backwards. But yeah, I think the legs are there, so hopefully you can get a win before the end.
No change in the Odell sprint standings, with Dutchman Jasper Bovenhuis still ahead. Sandro Maurice kept a grip on the Skoda King of the Mountains competition lead, increasing his advantage to 5 points over Nicholas Roach. Julien Vermont remains in the yellow jersey with 6 seconds advantage over Steve Cummings as his nearest challenger. So here are the official standings as the riders head to Dartmoor tomorrow. Vermont leads Cummings by 6 seconds, with Swift third at 1 minute and 3, tying with Tony Gallopin.
Now look, we don't like to be partisan on this show, but today I think we can have an exception because we were all rooting for Jack at the end there. It was such a fantastic win, Jack Bauer. You must be very pleased.
Yeah, very pleased.
Because
you can't do better than win.
You can't, and to be fair to Janto, he called it once again. He saw you in the break. He thought, hang on, Jack Bauer's in the break. He's going to make this work. But it was very close. Did you realise how close the peloton were when you made a jump?
I knew they were breathing down our necks with 9k to go, and when Moynard hit out on the last kicker there, I realised I just had to gamble for the stage. You can't think about the bunch coming from behind. You got to think about the 4 or 3 guys that you're playing with in the front group and gamble for the stage win. If the bunch catches you, the bunch catches you, but you don't want to get there and be beaten by one of these three guys you've been turning with all day.
You don't want to be caught with 50 metres to go on the line either, and that happened in the Tour de France a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
You know, very upsetting for you when you put in all that hard work. But today it worked, and especially coming after the rough sort of year and a half you've had getting injured too.
Yeah, it's probably about a year to the day that I started climbing back on the bike after a serious break to my left femur in the Tour de France last year. I spent months and months on a couch in the hospital bed. Doctors told me, consider the possibility that you won't ride at the same level again, or that your leg won't be as strong as it was. But with a lot of hard work and a lot of belief from my partner Sarah, and yeah, I believe by the grace of God too, I am here today and back to a good level of fitness and
back to winning
and
ways.
ability to win.
Absolutely, back on the podium where you belong,
man.
Jack. Janto, you
It's been
did
a
call
while.
it. Why did you call it? Why is he so good?
There was a key moment in the stage where the gap had come down to 3 minutes 50, I think, with about 60 k's to go, and then between 60 k's and 50 k's to go, it went back to 5 minutes plus. And I just thought, I've seen what the man's been doing in the last few stages, and if they start giving that much room to a group that was obviously working well together, they were very strong, it's going to get really, really difficult with the roads we've got on the run-in to bring that group back, and that's exactly what happened.
Okay, Janto, Jack, thank you both very much indeed. Look, not only did Jack win the stage today, he also won the sock game. Can we get a look at these? He hasn't just won the sock game, he has completed the sock game with those.
All right.
Fantastic showing. Loads of people here. Give them a round of applause, really. That was an incredible ride. That's it from us for now. We're back tomorrow with Sidmouth to Haytor, Stage 6 of this year's Tour of Britain. We'll see you then.